Examination is a test of memory and life is a test of learning, and the entire process is a test of patience. If you are patient enough to stay with me for a little while, I'll help you understand as to what exactly is required to clear the test of memory and to clear the test of learning to be successful not just in examination but also in life. As the entire process of memory and our learning happens in our brain, let us understand and try to decode as to what exactly runs through the mind in the process of preparation for examination and life. So I would call this entire exercise as brain drain. First thing, we need to set our target right. So to hit the target bullseye, we need to know what exactly is our target date. That is our examination date. Once we have the examination date in hand and we also know the date, that is today's date, we can easily find out the amount of time gap that is there from today till the examination date. The first and foremost mistake what a lot of us do is divide this number of days that we have by number of subjects and give equal amount of time to all the subjects. It's a big mistake. You shouldn't be doing that mistake. The amount of time to be allocated to each subject should not be equal. It depends upon the difficulty in the paper, it depends upon our understanding, it depends upon the subject, syllabus inside the subject, and quite a lot of other things. So don't ever give equal time to all the papers. Always keep it based on your comfort level and your understanding about the paper. The second thing, a lot of us don't usually plan for revision. Failing to revise is failing. Failing to revise is actually planning to fail. So you cannot really plan to do well in the examination without revising. So always need to keep certain number of days for revision aside and plan the rest of the days for the purpose of study. And when we plan this, we should not be dividing it equally among all the subjects. And when we plan these days, lot of us are very optimistic and come out with a plan which is not practically viable. All we need to do is we need to be practical, meaning we should not be very optimistic about the planning. In fact, we should be doing a very realistic plan. This realistic plan will ensure that we are way more closer to our examination and success in the examination. How are we going to do this? We need to plan for reserve days after every paper. We can't be studying for 90 days straight. One or the other thing will definitely pop up in every month which will stop us from studying. So we need to have those reserve days here and there. Whenever a big event like World Cup is also planned, they'll definitely plan for a reserve day. So reserve day is something that will make you way more prepared to get success in the examination. So what you're going to do is your entire days what you have, certain number of days for revision once you remove it, maybe 1/3 of the days if you remove or 1/4 of the days when you remove for the revision. Whatever the days is remaining, that should be taken for first reading. Don't divide by 8 subjects. You divide it based on the weightage that you need to give. Once you give the weightage, once you have the number of hours that is supposed to be given for that paper, divide it as to number of days that you should give. So basically, the monthly target that you have of finishing the entire syllabus, that is maybe 3 months and entire syllabus, should be brought down to that 3-month syllabus should be brought down to 1 month. So if I should finish 8 subjects in 3 months, how much should be done by 1 month? Once you devise that monthly target should be done to weekly target. Maybe if you have 2 subjects to finish or 3 subjects to finish in 1 month, you need to finish a subject a week. So it will come down to a week. Like it will come down to a weekly target from monthly. Once you have a weekly target, you need to bring it further down to daily target. Because till the time the ass is not on fire, even the rocket doesn't fly. So we need to put our ass on fire so that we'll end up flying into the sky to succeed in the examination. And once we have jotted down our monthly target to weekly, weekly target to daily, the daily target should be brought down to hourly target. For an example, if I've selected a paper for today's discussion and if I should finish 1 chapter from that paper in today, the moment I wake up, I'm very relaxed because I have an entire day to read that chapter. Till the time I bring it down to hourly target, I'll never study. If I want to study one entire chapter, it has some 10 concepts. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I have an entire day to study. I'll slog in the night. That's not the attitude that you should carry. If the chapter has 10 concepts and you need to finish that chapter today, 5 concepts should be finished before lunch and 5 after lunch. If you should finish 5 before lunch, that is like some 4 hours from now, you need to finish 1 concept in the next 45 minutes. So that is the extent to which it will come down to. If you know that you need to finish 1 concept in the next 45 minutes, you can't be relaxed now. Because if you waste these 45 minutes, you can't finish the chapter today. That will tamper your tomorrow's schedule, that will tamper day after, and you will never have time to come back to this chapter. So you need to jot down your monthly target to weekly, weekly to daily, daily to hourly, and finally when you sit to study, it should come down to minute target. And this will also ensure that you are not worried about some other chapter in some other paper. Usually it so happens that when you're doing paper 1, you're worried, what if you have sufficient time for paper 8? So if you have planned days for paper 8, you will be relaxed at the time of paper 1 that yes, you have certain days for paper 1 and as well as paper 8, and you will do it when the time comes for that particular paper. And the next important thing what we need to know regarding our planning is that yes, once we have this plan set in force, no, you actually don't need any motive to study. There is no need of motivation because discipline here drives you way more faster than the motivation, and you will definitely do well. So this is regarding target setting. Going ahead, next up what we have is a question. I have a question to all of you. Are you a student or are you an evaluator? You might shout loud saying that you are a student, but the preparation that we're doing is not like that of a student. For an obvious reason that when you sit to study, the study process is wrong for many of us. What we usually do is we keep our question book, we keep our answer book, we take a pen, we read the question, we check if the answer is correct. We are basically checking if the faculty has taught us correctly in the class, or we're basically checking whether the publication has published the book correctly. We need to know at the end of the day that in the examination you will not be given question paper and answer paper and will not be asked to correct the answers, because you at the end of the day are not an evaluator but a student. You will be asked to write the answers. Till the time you don't practice by writing at home, you will never be able to write the answers at the examination hall. So whenever you sit to study, remember you are a student, not an evaluator. Always write and practice. Sir, is it the same for theory paper also? Absolutely yes. So it doesn't really matter whether it is a theory paper or a practical paper. When you sit to study, you always need to write and practice. If it is a theory paper, you need to ensure that when you read it, you make a short notes of your own, because 300 pages or 400 pages material what you have for a theory paper cannot be revised on the day before the examination. You need to reduce it to your own manuscript to the 1/3 of the size. A 300 pages material should be reduced to 100 pages in your own handwriting. This will also have a psychological advantage. Our brain, when it sees a printed text, it is of a notion that this is something that I don't know. When your brain sees a handwritten script, that too of your own handwriting, your brain will feel like, hey, yeah, I know this. So that will basically make you study very quicker. So if you make notes when you study for the first time with regard to your theory paper, that will decrease your revision time and it will be of great advantage. Always remember that when studying for the first time, you are planning for revision. You are ensuring that your revision will become very, very easy. That's with respect to theory paper. Now, with respect to practical paper, again, you need to write and practice, because things should come down to your muscle, and there's something called as muscle memory that will help you way more in the examination as much as your brain memory usually helps you in the exam. And the next important thing is, with respect to your practical paper, you need to keep one small short book aside, and you need to call this book as a library of adjustment book, because on a particular topic, if you have 20 problems to solve, the day before the examination you cannot solve 20 problems, because it's not one chapter that you're writing in the examination but several chapters. So what you're going to do with respect to this subject is, you need to maintain something called as library of adjustments, wherein you'll keep a review of every question that you solve. Maybe when you solve 20 questions, you'll number all the questions there and you'll write question number 1, very easy. Question number 2, easy, subject to adjustment A. Question number 3, very difficult question. When you write review like this after solving the problems, at the time of revision, it will become very handy. You will look into this book in the process of revision. Very easy. You will not solve this question in revision. Easy, subject to adjustment number A. So this question, you will only look into adjustment number A and not solve the entire question in the process of revision. With regard to question number 3, you written it as difficult. You have to solve this question. You can categorize this library of adjustment questions into category A, B, C, A being difficult, B being not very difficult, C being easy, or of any other choice, which will help you understand things better when you start revising. So note taking or writing to practice is very, very important, irrespective whether it is theory or practical paper, especially because of the fact that you are a student and not an evaluator. And with regard to this, yes, I think we're done with this. So we can now straight away get into our next part, that is night versus day. Yes. So a lot of us have this question as to whether you should be studying in the night or you should be studying in the day. Mom says wake up early and study. So she wakes you up and you can't really study because you're a night reader. And at the night you fall asleep early because mom woke you up early in the morning. So you neither study in the day nor you study in the night. That shouldn't be the case that you should go through. You gotta be very choosy about whether you're a night reader or a day reader or when to study. I'll answer this question to you. Now, there are two categories of students. Category number one student are those students who do something else along with studying. That is people who do internship, people who go to college, or people who are undergoing coaching. This category of students, you have no choice. You have to be a day reader. I'll repeat, people who do something else along with studying, like going for internship or attending college or attending coaching classes, you have to be a morning reader. You have to study in the morning. If your day starts at 9 o'clock, with respect to your internship or coaching class or anything, you need to wake up at 4 in the morning, study, and then go to it. Because the most important thing in your life is to be done when you are most productive. When you do your daily routine of college or office or coaching class and then come back home late and tired, sitting then to study will not keep you very energetic and you will not be able to do justice to it. On the other hand, if you are a person who only studies and does nothing else, then you have an option to study in the day or in the night, whichever is something that you regard as your best time of the day. So study at any point of time if you are not doing anything else in your life other than studying for that particular paper. However, there's something called as prime time concept. So let's get this clear. If your examination is 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 9 to 12 is your prime time. If your examination is 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 2 to 5 is your prime time. So you got to pick this prime time, and this prime time should become the most efficient part of your day. I'll tell you how. If you have lunch at 1 o'clock for a continuous period of 1 month, at the end of 1 month, whether you eat or not, at 1 o'clock you will definitely feel hungry. That is because your body is accustomed to that 1 o'clock cycle. That's something that happens with respect to studies also. If you're sleeping in your prime time, if you're eating in your prime time, if you're shitting in your prime time, if you're peeing in your prime time, in the examination day also you might feel like eating, you might feel like shitting, you might feel like sleeping. That's not something ideal. So all you're going to do is that prime time, that examination day, you start making it very efficient part of your day at least 1 month before from the examination. If my exam is 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the month of June, from the month of May, I'll start doing something very productive 2 to 5, that is sitting and writing. If you write for 3 hours for 1 month exactly before the date of examination continuously, then in the examination you will never have hand pain. A lot of us complain after first exam that it's so troubling, I feel pain in my hand. That's because you're not used to writing. So ensure that you write and practice in that prime time. And that's with regard to night versus day. But a lot of students end up saying that, sir, I'm a night reader. They don't usually tell this out loud in the class, but they tell this to me one-to-one, saying that, sir, I'm a night reader, but I really have a trouble, waking up in the night. And I want to read in the morning, but I can't really wake up early in the morning. So here is my small tip as to how to wake up late in the night or how to wake up early in the morning. If you have to stay awake late in the night, meaning you are a night reader and you want to stay awake, the first thing that will spoil it is feeling sleepy by yawning. You yawn and your eyes get filled with water, your eyes feel very, very uncomfortable and you go to sleep. This is because you've been awake for quite long and your vapor in the eyes is gone dry. When the vapor in the eyes goes dry, the eyes send the signal to brain saying that you need to fall asleep, and brain communicates with the mouth and then yawns. That's a signal, and like, time up, back up, you just need to go to sleep right now. So how are you going to beat this? So the way you're going to beat this is something very, very simple. All you're going to do is you need to keep your eyes vaporized. That is the reason why a lot of us go and then wash our face. But just washing our face will not do any great deal of help because it will go dry very soon. So the small tip here is spending 5 rupees and then buying a Pond's or a Vaseline bottle and then applying it around our eyes. When we apply Pond's or Vaseline around our eyes, that will keep our eyes vaporized and we'll be able to stay awake for quite long without yawning. And this is the tip trick. If you want, you can try Vicks or Iodex, but don't apply it around your eyes, apply it on the forehead so that it will keep you awake. Sir, what is the problem with this? Only thing that might go wrong is you might just have few dark circles, which can definitely be beaten when you start making a lot of money. If Michael Jackson can transform from that to that, you can become someone really awesome too when it comes to looks. But right now, some things of great importance is with respect to brains. This is how to stay awake late night. How to wake up early in the morning. Simple thing, you need to keep an alarm and keep the alarm quite far from you. Sir, I'll wake up, go till there, turn off the alarm and then still go to sleep. Then you need to download a lot of applications that are applicable on the Android store called as puzzle alarm clocks. These puzzle alarm clocks, what they do is they basically have a puzzle that pop up when the alarm rings. You need to solve the puzzle, only then you can turn off the alarm. Till the time you don't solve the puzzle, you will not be able to turn off the alarm, which will ensure that you end up waking up. If this doesn't work to you, you can use something called as body clock. Body clock is something you tell yourself. Before you go to sleep the previous night, Stand in front of the mirror and then tell yourself quite a lot of times that I want to wake up at 4 next morning. I want to wake up at 4 next morning. I want to wake up at 4 next morning. When you tell it a lot of times, your body wakes you up at 4 in the morning next day. If you think this also doesn't work, I have a solution which cannot fail. If you want to wake up at 4 in the morning, before 9 p.m. drink 2 liters of water, go to bed without going to washroom. I repeat, if you want to wake up at 4 next morning, at 9 o'clock the previous night, drink 2 liters of water, go to bed without going to washroom, and you end up waking at 4 in the morning at least to pee, and studying after that is in your hands. So this is with regard to whether you should be studying in the morning or should be studying in the night. So going ahead, let's see what we have in the next part. This is something called as boredom. Yes, we do have lot of instinct, lot of interest to study, but this interest is always beaten by boredom. If you continue to do something for quite long, you get bored. All of us do. You can't beat that. How to beat boredom? We start taking rest, we start watching TV, we start playing games on phone, we start reading novels, we end up talking to friends. That's not the way out. The only way to beat boredom is change. When you change the reason for boredom is monotonous or doing the same thing again and again. How do you beat boredom? Change the way you do or change the things that you do. Something very simple. If you're reading one paper and you get bored, don't stop studying. Change the paper of studying. If you're bored of that paper, come back to the previous paper. So the ultimate solution is you can basically keep 2 papers in a single day and then study those 2 papers simultaneously. When you're bored with the first paper, switch to the second. When you're bored with the second paper, switch to the first. This will ensure that you are not bored and your studies are also continued and you're not taking break unnecessarily. That's of something of great importance. That's regard to boredom. And another important point what we need to keep in mind regarding boredom is whenever you're bored, you feel like taking a break because you are bored. I'm telling you, when you're bored, you don't want the boredom to go longer. Is that the reason why we take break? Then we're all wrong. If we are bored, we need to sit and study. Because if you sit and study, you're bored just for 3 months or just till that examination. If you don't sit and study, that boredom will get extended for another entire term. Meaning your boredom will double from 3 months to 6 months. After this 3 months, maybe that will increase into 3 times. So when you're bored, shut up, sit and study and don't rest or don't take a break. That's with regard to boredom. And then we have an amazing culprit who will spoil the entire things for us. A telephone or a phone or a mobile phone. This, no matter how amazing plan you have, this phone has all the capabilities to spoil your plan. So with regard to phone, you need to keep it in silent. If not, it will keep you silent from studies. What you're going to do as a first and foremost thing is you need to turn off all the notifications for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook and everything, because that will make you look at things when it wants you to. You don't want to look at Facebook. You are studying and then you get a notification that someone has tagged you in a post. You end up checking it. So basically, it will make you see when it wants to. You need to transform it from that to this phase wherein you will see it only when you want to. You need to use WhatsApp when you want to use it, not when someone wants to talk to you. Because right now the thing of utmost priority is your examination and not a WhatsApp message from your friend. So you need to turn off notifications with regard to every other application. And whenever you want to use your phone, you should basically not use it sitting on the bed or sleeping or lying on the bed. You should stand straight, not leaning on the wall, hold the phone in the hand and then use it. As that position is not very comfortable, you will not end up using your phone for long and the phone usage will definitely reduce. In fact, if definitely possible, you guys have to uninstall your Facebook, Instagram and everything, or just keep yourself quite away from the phone. Make your phone usage as much as you use your washroom. Like how often you use your washroom, that less often it should be with respect to your phone and not more than that. And people who really want to stay connected with you will stay connected with you irrespective whether you have the phone or not. Let's go to the next important aspect. That is my favorite. Revision rule. So doing a bad revision is in fact more worse than doing no revision. I'll explain this to you. Revision is something of utmost importance. So when you come home in the night after a long day and there's no power or electricity in the house, so what do? You go in search of the candle. You know that the candle is in the cupboard and you know that the matchbox is in the kitchen. So you go stretch out your arms, you get it and then light it. Once the power comes, if you throw the candle and the matchbox away and the next day when the power is gone, will you be able to find the candle? Will you be able to find the matchbox? No, because you didn't keep them right at the place where they deserve to be kept. Same thing happens to our brain. Our brain is like an almirah which has lot of files in it. File number 1 will be paper number 1, file number 2 will be paper number 2, file number 3 will be paper number 3. neatly arranged in shelves, and inside that will be a proper index of every chapters and then arranged because of our amazing first reading. If we don't do effective revision, the files will get jumbled up. You might open first file, you're reading something in middle something happens, and then you open the second file, and then you're keeping, you might misplace them. In the examination, that is in the dark room, when you want to open files, you might not get the right file. So when you need to revise, you need to open one file, revise it at its own pace, not like flipping pages. You're not playing book cricket at the end of the day. So you need to flip page with equal amount of time that you need to give it, because you might see a topic but you might not read it in depth. So when you read the topic, take that name, that file is open in your brain. When you don't read it and then go to the next topic, that will become empty. So meaning in the exam, if the same topic is questioned, if you try to recall, you might not be able to recall that topic. This works psychologically. So you need to give effective time for revision. If you're not able to give enough time for revision, better go to the examination without revision or without revising every paper. Like just revise what is proper. Instead of doing fast revision of 8 chapters, do proper revision of 4 chapters. That is way more ideal. And that's with respect to the revision rule. A bad revision can screw up your examination. Ensure that you do particular or correct revision of the entire thing. And yes, this with respect to this. And with respect to revision, another point what you need to remember is if you have 8 papers, you need to revise the papers in the same order in which it will go for the examination. So the first exam should be revised first, the second exam paper should be revised second, third. So just before the examination of first paper, you will read first paper. Before that, your revision should have been last over for the last paper, because assume that you have 8 papers and you revise them in an haphazard manner. You might have revised 8th paper first, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you write the first exam. And then after you write second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th exam, and you're writing the 8th exam, the last time you read this 8th paper was almost a month ago, which might have already made you forget the entire subject. To ensure that this doesn't happen, you need to revise things in the same order in which the examination is going to happen. If possible, also keep your first time study in this order, and that will ensure that the files are also arranged in the sequence in the Almirah. So after the revision rule, next we have something big day coming up, the examination. We need to celebrate the examination. In fact, you need to be excited about examination, because that's the day that's going to put an end for all the efforts that you put until now. So that's the day where all the results will actually be made. There are quite a lot of things that you need to know regarding exam. You need to take your admit card, you need to carry stationery, you need to carry yourself to the examination, you need to carry confidence. I'm not going to tell you those things that you need to carry. I'll tell you those things that you need not carry to examination hall. You should never ever carry book to examination hall. All we do is we carry that subject book to the examination hall, we read it on the way to examination hall, we read it 5 minutes before entering the examination hall. Don't do that. Shakuntala Devi, the lady who is called as a human computer, tells us that we need to stop studying for an examination 1 month before. We can't really do that, but we can at least try stop studying for that paper at least hours before the examination. So what I'm trying to tell is at least 2 to 3 hours before the examination, you should stop studying for that particular paper. Don't really carry books to the examination. If you really want to carry books, carry the books with respect to the next paper, so that you can study on the way back from the examination. See what you could do in the last 6 months or last 3 months. How can you expect to do it in the last 5-10 minutes? So don't really spoil the entire examination by carrying the books to examination hall. Leave everything back at home and then walk to the examination hall just with the stationery and then essentials, and not with the book. And if you're writing examination in the month of April, May, June, that is during this summer, please do carry some lemonade or some fresh juice that you've taken at home, because when you're studying and you're all at home for such a long time, and suddenly for the examination when you go out, hot sun might make you dehydrated all of a sudden. So to keep yourself energetic and then fit for the examination, you can take a sip of juice every half an hour, a little or something. And the moment you hit the examination hall, find as to where exactly is the toilet, because every time when you're very tense, that's the only way out, or that's the place where you need to be rushing to. So figure out that with respect to examination. And examinations these days gives us 15 minutes of reading time, couple of professional examinations. That's something of utmost importance. I'm really against those students who end up wasting that 15 minutes outside with a book studying for the exam. That 15 minutes is the high time. You need to study there. I'll tell you an instance. One of the examination for CA final, the question paper was of 28 pages. If you take a minute to read one page of the question paper, it will come down to 28 minutes. And in fact, if you just read it twice, if you want to read the questions twice, then it will come down to an hour. 1 hour in 3 hours is lost exclusively because you spent it reading questions. So that's something terrible. That's something that can happen in the examination pressure. So how are we going to tackle that? We are going to use that 15 minutes effectively. That 15 minutes will help us understand what is the choice question that we're ignoring, what is the choice question that we're taking. what is the sequence of the questions that I'm solving. Am I going to write question number 1 first? Am I going to write question number 2 first or 3 first? So you should decide the order in which we can answer the questions in the examination. We are always allowed to jumble the order of the questions. You need not always start with question number 1 in the exam. You can start with question number 3, 4, 6, 7, any. But you cannot change the internal order. Meaning, you can write question number 2 and then write 1, then write 5, then write 3. You can do that. But you cannot write 1D and then write 1A, then write 1C, then write 1B. Such internal order change is not allowed. You should start with 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. But you need not start with question number 1. You can write third one first and then first one. You can change the external order of the question but not the internal order. And when you start writing, leave an imaginary margin on the right side for half an inch so that if you make any mistake in the line, you can correct it at that place instead of scratching the entire page. This becomes very handy, especially with respect to practical papers. And then going ahead. Other than this, with respect to examination, we have to talk about something, that are we in a race or are you running a rat race is my question. Every time in the preparation of exam, what we end up doing is we end up calling our friend asking, hey, how much did you study today? Did you finish this chapter? Oh shit, you studied for 6 hours today. I studied only for 4 hours. Or in the examination hall, we might just peep into the other's paper, not for the sake of information, but to see how many pages has our neighbor written. You might see that our neighbor has written 4 pages, but you've written only 2. Like, oh shit, my neighbor is ahead of me. You are not running a rat race here. No comparison between people. This comparison will either make you happy or it will make you sad. Either ways, it is against our interest in the examination. If it makes you happy or sad, remember that this happiness or this sadness is temporary and it is completely fake. See, when you are happy because your friend is behind you, it might be a case where he or she is a fast learner. He needs only one reading, but you need couple of revisions. Or if your friend is ahead of you, it might be vice versa case. Or if your friend has written more pages in the examination hall and you're feeling bad, try and understand that they might have left couple of pages empty, or they might have got the answers wrong, or their font size might have been big. So don't ever put yourself in a rat race. For an amazing fact that you might not be a rat in the race, you might be a lion. So if you're running a rat race, you'll never understand your power that you might be a lion. So this is with regard to examination. Do really well in the examination and all the best from my end. And one last line that I would tell you is, may the best from your past be the worst from your future.